Welcome everyone! In this video, we are in the ultraLeague, showcasing another very powerful team featuring Clefable. I've been very excited to try Clefable. I had to get it in before the ultraLeague was over, and we are running it today, my friends. Clefable. If you guys caught my Clefable video from the Great League, you will know that I'm quite fond of it as a closer, and that is exactly what it will be on this team. And also in the back with Clefable, we've got Jellicent on the safe swap. There aren't as many Trevenants or grass types in general, so I'm a lot more comfortable safe swapping Jellicent. Jellicent is on this team to draw out a potential steel type, so the Clefable doesn't have to see it. Jellicent has a lot of strong neutral play across most of the ultraLeague meta, and also on this team, Galarian Stunfisk on the lead. So Jellicent draws out that steel type, G-Fisk comes back in to finish it off, clearing the way for Clefable, hopefully up a shield, to absolutely sweep the end game. My goodness, I've had this Clefable built for ages. I think I built it around Season 7. It has just been collecting dust until now. And here we go, not a good lead. Shiny Haxorus, fresh off of its community day not too long ago. So I like to hang out here a little bit just to see where their shielding priority is, because it's still a little early, still a little tough to tell what trainers might be wanting to run. So I usually will bait, and they let that go. So I was really just wanting to get an early shield advantage, but the fact that they let that go leads me to believe that perhaps they have something that can be very good up against our Stunfisk. So I just elect to stay in and just soft lose lead here. And just look to come in with Clefable to get a nice healthy farm off of this Haxorus. The conventional moveset is hard-walled by Clefable, so we have no problem, and we knew that that was just a breaking swipe anyway. So now we see they have a Drapion, so that is a tricky Pokemon to deal with for these two. We would have ideally wanted that on the G-Fisk, but yeah, it was it's a little tricky giving up Switch and ultraLeague just because the teams are so much more diverse and a little bit more random than in a Great League. So it's really difficult at times to get a good beat on what people are running. But here we are with a Swampert onto our Jellicent. We baited, they let that go, and that's fine. We just really want to grab a shield advantage for our Clefable because it's going to have to put in some work up against that Drapion. This is just a Hydro Cannon. We tank that all day with our Jellicent, and we win the zeros up against Swampert. So now we will look to just chip this and make a play back into our Clefable as the switch timer is now up. And now it is all up to Clefable to perhaps get this done here. Gonna have to call a bait because this Drapion does outpace us. It's just the resist and crunch. That is an excellent call. We called that perfectly, and now we are looking good. We might be able to do something, especially when they let that big Meteor Mash go. For those of you unfamiliar, Meteor Mash is one of the best charge moves in the entire game. The only other Pokemon that has access to it as of now is Metagross, of course. And now we can just go straight Meteor Mash here. We do shield that next crunch. I was sure that was going to be another crunch bait, but I didn't want to get in any sort of awkward territory where we could get farmed down with Poison Sting, and we do successfully shield that up, and we farm it down with neutral Fairy Winds with Stab. Clefable doing its job to perfection on this team, and that is close the game strong. Good game, well played. Guys, as you can see on that thumbnail, I ended up going 16-4 with this team. It far exceeded my expectations, and here we go. Giratina, pretty neutral lead. We do edge it out. We need 2 Earthquakes plus a few Mud Shots here. So we'll stay here and see what they give us here. So we're going to go for the Earthquake here. They usually let the first one go. They tank that quite comfortably. It does about 50%, but they shield. So that was very interesting. That's a massive tell in terms of team reading that perhaps they're weak to a steel type like Stunfisk in the back. So we're going to try and fire off another one. We do want to get some chip damage. At this point, I've already made my mind up that I'm going to pivot. But they shield again, so we're 100% pivoting. We now have a 2-shield advantage, setting up our Clefable to perhaps do what it does best, guys, and that is close the game strong. So they chip us with a Shadow Sneak, and they've got a Charmer in the back. So that is what they were protecting. in the back by double shielding their tanky Giratina. So we have the shield advantage. We are quite bulky in our own right, so we can comfortably give up a shield here. We still have one for our Clefable, which is the goal, and we can take out this Sylveon here and see what else they have in the bag. I was thinking perhaps it's Double Charm. That is quite common for a Giratina lead, Double Charm. But they do come back in with the Tina, so we're going to come in with our Clefable here, of course. I'm reading at this point that it's Double Charm, so that's why we're saving G-Fisk, but it's not Double Charm! Oh my goodness, it's an Empoleon! Holy smokes, and they throw immediately, so that is good. That's beautiful. They could have farmed down, but they throw immediately. That's a misplay by them. They could have easily farmed us down and had a charge move for our Clefable to really put the pressure on. So we are going to try our very best to capitalize on what they gave us here. That Moonblast is resisted, and it does massive damage to the Empoleon, which is a steel type. That is insane damage. Have to shield up the Hydro. And we're going to try and overload a little bit and throw... Just right here, I was sure it probably would not have quite KO'd, but I'm thinking some resisted Fairy Wind damage could do the trick. They bail immediately into a Giratina, and holy smokes, Clefable is popping off in the Ultra League. You'll love to see it. We're saying bye-bye to the Giratina, and we're farming down with resisted Fairy Winds. Holy smokes, I'm telling you guys, if you set Clefable up, it can sweep a game. Good game, well played. That, my friends, was the power of Clefable in the Ultra League as a closer. And here we go. Umbreon lead. Pretty neutral lead. Very neutral. Very close. So when you see an Umbreon, at least at this juncture in this cycle of the Ultra League, it's safe to read that it is a team that fellow content creator Homeslice Henry recently featured. So that's what I'm reading. And the team is Umbreon lead, Nidoqueen, and Toxicroak in the back. So that's what I'm reading, and that's how we're going to approach this. That's a pretty safe bet. A lot of people do run Homeslice Henry's teams, justifiably so. Shouts to Homeslice. And now we are going to go for another EQ here. They generally will not shield. They're just trying to get us low, and that's fine. Because reading this team, I'm 99% sure that this is what I am reading, and that is with Nidoqueen and Toxicroak in the back. They're likely going, whatever they come in with, we know what to meet it with. So if they come in with Nidoqueen, we know to meet that with our Jellicent, obviously. And if they come in with the Toxicroak to farm down, we know to meet that with our Clefable. So no one has given up shields, and as you can see, Stunfisk gets the narrow win in the zeros up against Umbreon, and this is beautiful, guys. They come in with the Nidoqueen, so I'm 99% sure that this is the recent Homeslice Henry team with Toxicroak remaining in the bag. So we're going to beat this with the Jellicent. An excellent answer to Nidoqueen, as with our Ghost typing, we're resisting this fast move pressure, and they have to go for the big... Earth Power, which costs more energy, obviously, for the Nidoqueen. We tank that like a champ, and we're going to look to just fire back with a super effective serve. And they let that go. That is beautiful. No one is giving up any shields here. This is just a resisted Poison Fang. This is not going to cut it from this trainer here. And we will look to take out the Nidoqueen and leave this matchup relatively healthy for that Toxicroak. And they shield, so we're going to pivot into Clefable, get ahead on energy, get the jump on the Toxicroak, and it is confirmed. Our trainer here has been watching their Homeslice Henry, and that is beautiful. They let that go, and this is not going to happen, unfortunately. We read the team like a book, and just going to shield out of caution. The only lose con is no shielding a Sludge Bomb, and we know that, so we are going to play to our win con, shield up everything. There's the Sludge Bomb there, and it is just too little too late for our pal Toxicroak here. Going to fire off this Meteor Mash, and we were going to make it to another one. They didn't want the smoke from Clefable. Holy smokes, as they top left. That's going to be yet another good game. Well played. So there you have it, my friends. That is how you beat the latest Dark Double Poison line. And speaking of, we see another Umbreon lead, guys. I think we know what the team read is here yet again. I'm always going to be reading that there's a Nidoqueen and a Toxicroak in the back. So that's how we're playing here yet again, back to back. Holy smokes. Deja vu. Gonna fire off the EQ just as we did in the last Umbreon lead. And as we saw in that last one, speaking of, Stunfisk does edge it out. It is quite close, quite narrow, but Stunfisk will be the one left standing in the end here. So we just play out the zeros. They will almost never, ever shield their Umbreon, as that is likely the tankiest Pokemon on their team. And they can go for foul play all they want. We're going to let it go because we do survive. Umbreon's most redeeming quality is of course its bulk. It doesn't hit particularly hard, and we will get the farm down, leaving healthier than that last one, which was interesting. And there's the Toxicroak, nice shiny Toxicroak lurking in the back there. We're not making it to an EQ, so we're just going to get what chip damage we can off, and now it is Clefable time. Had me a little nervous because this Toxicroak does have a bit of an energy lead on our Clefable. We're reading Nidoqueen in the back, so this is probably not the best shield, but I didn't want to leave Jellicent having to go 1v2 here. So we do shield that. They baited, and there's the Nidoqueen. So the beauty of this team here, this Clefable team, is that it can address that Umbreon, Nidoqueen, Toxicroak team quite well, as once you get the Umbreon out of the way, Jellicent is an excellent answer to both Toxicroak and Nidoqueen. Even up a shield, I believe, it can put some serious work in on those two. Once you get the Umbreon out of the way, that's the key. And as we can see, Stunfisk is quite good at doing that. We do live that Earth Power from the Shadow Nidoqueen, and now we're just going to look to overload and go for the Surf here on the Nidoqueen. Going to be interesting to see if they want to shield this low-health Nidoqueen. No, they do not. They want to save that shield for Toxicroak. We had energy stored on Clefable. Getting a little narrow here. We don't have any shields, but the beauty of XL Clefable in the Ultra League is that it can survive a Sludge Bomb, even from a Pokemon that hits as hard as Toxicroak. We live! And we were one off from the Meteor Mash. Toxicroak, about as squishy as it gets. We get to this, and we're saying bye-bye to the Toxicroak. Clefable sweeping yet another endgame in the Ultra League. You'll love to see it. That's going to be a good game. Well played. Dark Double Poison, no match for this team, guys. My goodness. And here we go. Picking up a Dragonite lead. Shadow Dragonite. And looks like there's a little bit of stutter lag, but they caught up. So they are caught up here. We are even. It was just a visual glitch there. Going to go for the Rock Slide as soon as possible here. They let it go, so we're actually going to pivot into Jellicent here. Not sure what they could have in the back. It's a safe bet to assume that there's at least one Steel type in the back. And they're staying in a little bit here, so we're just going to look to get rid of the Dragonite, I suppose, as it can be a problem for G-Fisk with Superpower. They just let the Dragonite go, and they've got a Jellicent of their own in the back, so very interesting to see. Still not quite sure what that third could be, but I'm almost sure that's likely a Steel type in the back. Could be a Registeel, could be an Escavalier, not sure. So we do have a shield from this Jellicent. They're going to throw, not allowing us to make it to another move, and that is fine. So we can actually come in with Clefable, reading that there's a Steel type in the back here. So gonna shield actually, yeah. They are pretty loaded, so we shield that. That's a good shield. Not going to shield the next one. We do tank a Shadow Ball, no problem here from the Jelly. And we will look to just overload a little bit more here just to maximize our energy. We actually go to 100 just to throw on optimal timing because I would rather not have them sneak through a full Hex. And that doesn't KO, so we're going to catch this on the G-Fisk. Reading that there's some sort of Steel in the back. I was hoping Reggie, that's why we were okay catching a super effective Surf. But it's not a Reggie, it's a Cobalion. So that still works out for us. They go Sacred Sword, but that is okay. We still make it to an Earthquake. And this could absolutely grab the final shield. It would do a boatload of damage. And it does grab that final shield. So now it's up to Clefable, up a shield. The health is quite compromised. So we're going to have to dig our heels in, guys. And we're going to have to call a bait. That Moonblast does big neutral damage to the Cobalion. And yeah, we have to call a bait successfully. That's the win con. We call it successfully. So now we have some new light here in this matchup. Gonna shield the next one. I knew it was just another Sacred Sword, but we are quite low. And they pivot into the Jelly. So we're just gonna maximize on our energy here to have some residual energy. We say bye-bye to the Jelly. And now it's a race. They are energy dry. They threw the back-to-back. We make it to this Moonblast. Oh my goodness. Clefable, so clutch. We're saying bye-bye to the Cobalion as well. My goodness. Clefable hanging on by a thread to close the game strong. Good game, well played. Guys, some of these battles, like I said, I went 16-4 with this team. I was just left with my jaw on the floor with Clefable. It was so refreshing to see. But here we go. Another Haxorus lead. So we played, as you saw at the beginning, the first Haxorus team, we played that very well. This one, we don't play so well. The reason why is because this is the very first set of the day, and that was my first encounter with a Haxorus lead with this team. So I wasn't quite sure. I didn't have the best beat on what they could have in the back, but it turns out it is looking like the same team as the previous Haxorus lead with a Drapion lurking in the back here. So I don't know if someone featured Haxorus Drapion core. I really don't know, but this is the first one that we saw, and we ended up seeing it again as we saw at the beginning. So again, this was the first set of the day, first encounter with it. Spoiler alert, we're not playing this very well. I'm not sure that's even much of a spoiler. As we can see, we went down 2 shields and we gave up switch. So yeah, just not playing this very well at all. I just wasn't quite sure what to do with this. Haxorus is still relatively new to the meta, so I did not know what was coming my way with this team here, guys. I was just trying to make something happen. They catch the Rock Slide onto a Runerigus. Holy smokes, what is going on here? This is not a Pokemon that you see every day in the Ultra League. Holy smokes. So we elect to just go straight Rock Slide. I was thinking that they would not allow us to get to an Earthquake. I was thinking for sure they would look to CMP tie us if we were to get to an EQ. So I elect just to play it safe, go straight resisted Rock Slide. And as you can see, it grabbed a shield. So we have that working for us. But this thing is absolutely loaded. That is something that we do not have working for us. A loaded Pokemon with Shadow Ball with Stab is never a good thing for you. We do tank that comfortably. We know that everything from this Haxorus is most likely resisted, but not an Earthquake. Holy smokes, this Mad Lad was running Earthquake. That's lights out. Good game, well played. Earthquake Haxorus did us in that last one. Holy smokes. But here we go. Charizard lead. We have 2 excellent answers to this Charizard here. Number 1 being G-Fisk, which is what we have here now. We do outpace, that's why it's good. And the Charizard needs the bait in the 2 shield to successfully win this. And we know that, so we're gonna try and call this here. But they go right for that Blast Burn. Holy smokes. So now, at the very least, we will grab 2 shields or threaten the win lead. We do get 2 shields, so we're going to pivot into Jellicent here and see what they want to do. They bring in an Ampharos, so that's not great, but we do have the shield advantage. So we do have that going for us. Going to go for this Shadow Ball. Does big damage on that Ampharos there, and now we can safely shield this here, and we do have the Surf loaded. They need another Volt Switch for another Brutal Swing, and we're just going to throw it immediately, not wanting to take any additional Volt Switch damage here. And that does take out the Ampharos. So now, oh, and they've got an Obstagoon in the back, so Clefable has got some heavy lifting to do here. Holy smokes. Gonna do what we can with the Surf here. Does a decent amount of chip damage on the Obstagoon, and now it's Clefable time. Up a shield. We gotta just throw it in here and hope for the best. They go Night Slash. That is brilliant. That does no damage. And now this Charizard has no shields, but we can only do resisted damage. They've showed that they are not afraid to just go right for that Blast Burn, so we do shield that, and we're going to look to go for the Moonblast. That is what you do on Charizard. It has Stab, and it has a 10% chance to lower the attack, which we do get. Holy smokes, that is super clutch. That attack drop is coming in very clutch for us because we have no shields, and that Blast Burn now does less damage. So now we can safely get rid of this Charizard. This is just a double resisted Dragon Claw that has been debuffed. So not concerned with that at all. And we will look to get rid of this very annoying Charizard here. We say bye-bye to the Zard, but this Obstagoon is still very healthy, and all we have left is a low-health G-Fisk. Tried to catch a Night Slash onto the low-health G-Fisk, but they were looking to farm down our Clefable, and they're running Obstruct. Oh, this is not good, guys. Holy smokes. Oh my goodness, we are up against it here. We do have a move stored. So we're going to get this damage off and try our very best with this Jellicent. Holy smokes. We have the health advantage, but we are at a severe type disadvantage here. They obstruct us to raise their defense and lower ours. So we have to live essentially a boosted Night Slash. It's essentially boosted because our defense has been lowered by that obstruct. I'm thinking, come on, Jelly. Come on, Jelly. Live this Night Slash. We live on 1 HP. Oh my goodness. Jellicent, the bulk coming in clutch. We're saying bye-bye to the Obstagoon as the timer approaches. Holy smokes. Jellicent coming in so clutch to pull that one out. Good game, well played. My goodness, Jellicent coming through for us in that last one. And here we go. Primarina. It's running Charm, so we stay in here. It could also have the option of running Waterfall. In that case, we switch out. But they have Charm, we stay in. They pivot into an Umbreon, so that threw me off. So we just throw this just a chip, and we, of course, pivot into Clefable. Clefable, one of the better answers to any Dark type in this meta that does not have a Poison typing. And they, of course, just go straight last resort in this matchup. It is not close whatsoever here, so we're just going to take full advantage of our type advantage and overload a little bit. Moonblast still doesn't quite KO, even with that Earthquake chip. Umbreon, the bulk is off the charts. And now we just farm down here and see what they want to do. They do get off that last resort, but we are still very healthy. They've got a G-Fisk in the back, so a very good answer to our Clefable. So we throw the Meteor Mash. You definitely want to just be going Moonblast in situations where everything is resisted, as Moonblast has Stab, and again, has that 10% chance to lower their attack by 30%, I do believe. So we do go Moonblast there. No attack drop. That's okay. Just going to let this go, and now we can align Jellicent onto this G-Fisk. I really wish that Rock Slide KO'd because it gave him an extra Mud Shot, which you never want to do up against a Pokemon as spammy as G-Fisk, but it is what it is. We've got the Jelly, and on this G-Fisk, we have to be careful of a catch. They tried the catch. It is G-Fisk time yet again. So yeah, we were able to maintain alignment throughout this battle here. This is pretty fundamental. This Charmer can do nothing to our G-Fisk. We just cannot allow them to one-shot us with a Hydro Pump. Although Jellicent can perform quite well against Primarina as well, but this is about as dominant as it gets. We do successfully shield up the Hydro Pump, and now we will look to go for yet another Earthquake. Grabbing the shield, they want to go down with the ship. There is no win con for our opponent, but they do want to stick it out to the very end, and that is okay. Throwing the new Disarming Voice, it did recently get that with the Season 15 updates, but it is not going to help them. We're saying bye-bye to the Primarina, and we've got the Jelly with loaded energy, and the G-Fisk has no shields. That was lights out, as they do promptly top left. So that is the team, my friends. Good game, well played to our opponent. And like I said, guys, holy smokes. Clefable far exceeded my expectations, just as I had anticipated. I ran it in the Great League as a closer, and I was just dying to run it as a closer in the Ultra League, as I knew I had already had a rank 6 Clefable built from many seasons ago. I think season 6 or season 7, I built that thing. And I don't run Charmers. I rarely ever run a Charmer. So it has just been collecting dust in my Pokédex. But Niantic came through for Season 15. They messed around and gave this thing Fairy Wind. And now it has new life. So excited to finally run my rank 6 Clefable yet again after many seasons. So the dynamics of this team are quite simple. G-Fisk on the lead will protect Clefable from most opposing Steel types. There are a few that can get the better of G-Fisk, most notably Cobalion, and maybe an S-Cavalier to an extent, but G-Fisk can still fight back against that. But mostly Cobalion can, but all other steel types like Registeel, G-Fisk can perform quite well as the poison types. G-Fisk, one of the best poison type answers in the entire Ultra League, as it does triple resist poison type damage, giving further coverage to Clefable. And of course, Clefable protects G-Fisk from the fighters and pseudo fighters, most notably Obstagoon being the most prominent pseudo fighter, as well as all other fighters in between. And you round out that very strong core with a pretty strong safe swap to draw out those steel types, and that's a recipe for a lot of success. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching, and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.